It's that time of year again as we reach the frantic final hours of transfer deadline day. As usual, plenty of Premier League clubs will be looking to make last-minute summer signings, and I'm joined by IBTimes sports reporter Tony Mogan to talk over some of the potential deadline deals. Tony, we'll start off with the big name in the frame, Radamel Falcao. He's been linked with a move away from Monaco for some time now. There were talks of him joining fellow Colombian star James Rodriguez at Real Madrid, but now it looks like it could be a last-minute move to the Premier League.
Yeah, he's quickly become the biggest protagonist of the day. On Saturday, he was left out of the Monaco squad, which was the biggest indication that something might be happening. A few hours later, he tweeted his dream move to Real Madrid was coming to fruition, but he wasted little time in claiming that was a hack on his account. In the last 12 hours now, we've seen him linked with a move to either Manchester City, Manchester United or Arsenal. Apparently, he's been offered to the Premier League clubs for a fee of £55 million, which is just over what Monaco paid for him last summer. At this moment in time, it would appear that there's no club in pole position to sign him, but you'd consider Arsenal would make the most logical sense for him and the club. Arsenal's limitations up front were brutally exposed again against Leicester on Sunday, where their attack looked fairly toothless in the absence of Olivier Giroud. Arsene Wenger said after the game the club will be very active today, but he's done little to suggest that he's made centre forward a priority. If anything else, he's looked to play down that possibility. He's talked away moves for the likes of Danny Welbeck and Carlos Bacca of Sevilla in the past few days, but it would appear the club would be in the market for one. And if this player is available, as all signs suggest, then it would make a lot of sense now for Arsenal to pursue this. In terms of Manchester City's move for the player, a lot would seem to hinge on the future of Alvaro Negredo. In the past few days, he's been closely linked with a return to Valencia in Spain, and his departure would create room in the squad for Falcao's rival. And if harmony could be struck in that forward line of Sergio Aguero, Edin Dzeko, Stevan Jovetic and Falcao, Manuel Pellegrini would have a lot to work with in terms of retaining that Premier League title. Of Manchester United now, that seems the most unlikely given their pressing matters elsewhere in the pitch, particularly centre-half and centre midfield. But as we've seen in the move for Angel Di Maria, Luis van Gaal is on the lookout for world-class players. And if we're talking about Radamel Falcao, then surely he fits that bill as well.
Moving on to another player that's also been strongly linked to the Premier League is William Carvalho. Which big clubs are in the hunt for him at the moment?
Throughout the summer, it did seem like United were the club poised for him. It seemed that David Moyes had earmarked him as a target, but in the past few weeks, Arsenal have taken that place, really. The player was quizzed on the possibility of leaving Sporting Lisbon over the weekend during the Lisbon derby against Benfica, and he provided perhaps the most sort of diplomatic answer you can provide on this sort of time of the summer, telling reporters he has a contract at Sporting, and that was it. If anything, that's an invitation for the player to say that he's open to a move, but he's not willing to push it, which leaves the ball firmly in Arsenal's court if their interest is substantial. Holding midfield is a position Arsene Wenger really must be looking at, given Mikel Arteta's current absence and the lack of options should the Spaniard not be available. The club Sporting have been very firm in their position in terms of getting the release clause met, which is £37 million. At this stage of the summer, where there will be any wiggle room on that fee remains to be seen. Sporting are notoriously tough to stick into top fees for their players. Whether Wenger can bow down to that now or renegotiate something a bit more logistically possible for the club, it really depends on how much he wants a player in that position now.
One deal that looks likely to be finalised today will be that of Daley Blind from Ajax to Manchester United, reuniting Louis van Gaal from the World Cup to his new look Red Devils squad. Is it fair to say, though, that if that deal is completed, that what we're more likely to see is an exodus of players out of Old Trafford? I
definitely think that would be the case now. Van Gaal has reputedly told players they can leave if they want. He's told them of what their first-team chances will be over the course of the season, and the decision has been left with them whether they wish to attempt to fight their way back in or look for new opportunities. We saw Shinji Kagawa become the first man to take the option of leaving. He re-signed for Borussia Dortmund on Saturday, and it looks as if Javier Hernandez will be the next. Out of nowhere, it seems, in the last 12 hours, again, a loan move to Real Madrid has appeared on the horizon, and it has been unofficially confirmed by Mexico national team boss Miguel Herrera, who tweeted this morning claiming the player, suggesting the player should make this move and congratulated him on the move. Of course, there's been no word from United or Real Madrid yet, but it appears that move would be in the offing. Elsewhere in the United squad, players such as Danny Welbeck and Tom Cleverley fit into this group of players who have been told, leave if you want. Welbeck, we've seen linked with moves to Everton, although that interest has sort of diminished since the arrival of Samuel Eto'o last Friday. Tottenham and Sunderland would appear to be other possible destinations. Of course, this reputed interest in Radamel Falcao now could further complicate the matters. In terms of Welbeck's future, it may come down to what offer comes in from what club, and he may weigh that up against the chances at Old Trafford. We'll probably see some conclusion to that now in the coming hours. Tom Cleverley now has been very closely linked to a move to Aston Villa. Latest reports suggest wages between the player and the club have been a bit of a stumbling block between a deal being agreed. Now, whether that becomes solved in the next few hours or whether another club may come in for the player, we'll have to see. Everton, again, have been linked with it, mainly due to the player's relationship with Roberto Martinez after his loan spell at the club a few years back. It is a case for a lot of the players in the same position now. They are waiting for offers, and they may weigh that up against their current chances at United. Remember now, United were already out of the Capital One Cup. The Premier League and the FA Cup is their only point of fixtures this season. There's not many games compared to last season, so first team chances will be coming at a premium for these players. So if they think it will be a good idea to leave, they'll have to take it now quickly, otherwise they could spend the rest of the season languishing on the bench.
Well, to follow our live coverage of Premier League transfer deadline day, go to our website, ibtimes.co.uk/sport.